So I'll wait to go back for another video on Seneca, and I didn't point it out in the last few videos, but I was wearing a Latin Club t-shirt from last year, and now I'm wearing our one from this year, the 2019-2020 t-shirt. We'll wear that in a few videos, and then maybe we'll wear something else. Also, you may notice I'm wearing my JCL ball cap. So we're looking at Seneca-Epistle XI. And he starts off, he says, Aliquis vir bonus nobis diligendus est. Notice we've got a passive paraphrastic there with the diligendus est, and nobis being the dative of agent. Literally, some man, some person must be esteemed by us. So you could put that in a smoother English and say we must always esteem some person. Ac semper ante oculos habendus. And that person must always be held before our eyes, or again, we must always keep that person before our eyes. The habendus is a gerundive there, part of another implied passive paraphrastic. He just doesn't repeat the est. And why do we need to do that? Why must we always esteem some particular person and have that person before our eyes? Well, he says, ut sic tamquam illo spectante vivamus, et omnia tamquam illo vidente faciamus. And he says we need to do this so that we may live as if he, that person, is always watching us. Notice we got the purpose clause there, ut vivamus, so that we may live as if that person is always watching us. He says, and so that we may do everything as if he sees, faciamus being the other present subjunctive there in that purpose clause. So he says, always have somebody in your mind that you're thinking about. And whatever you're doing, do it as if that person is watching you. And that may sound a little bit creepy, but it'll make sense here in just a moment. He says, aliquem habeat animus quem vereatur, cuius auctoritate etiam secretum suum sanctius faciat. He says, let the mind, that's the animus, let the mind have someone, and we're saying let the mind have because habeat is a present subjunctive, not in any particular clause. Let the mind have someone that it may respect, by whose authority it may make even its own inner place more hallowed. Now we get to the heart of it. He says, have somebody that you can respect. Think about somebody. It might be a family member. It might be a coach or a teacher or someone in your church or your synagogue. And he says, have somebody in your mind that you can respect. And whatever you're doing, do it as if that person is watching you. And he says, it's somebody, the kind of person who's by whose authority you make the secret places of your heart even more hallowed. And then he says, O felicem illum qui non praesens tantum, sed etiam cogitatus emendat. Oh, happy is that man who a man not only present, but even thought of may make better. So he says the person is felix, the person is happy, who has someone that if that person is present with you, you're a better person around that person. But even when that person is just cogitatus, even when you're just thinking about that person, you become a better person. In that case, you are truly a felix individual yourself. O felicem qui sic aliquem vereri potest, ut ad memoriam quoque eos se componat atque ordinet. Oh, happy is that person who is able to respect another person and arrange himself, componat se, arrange himself and ordinet se, and kind of order his own life to the memoriam eos, to the memory of that person. So really structuring your own life according to the life of that other person, using that other person as a model. It says, qui sic aliquem vereri potest cito erit verendus. He says the person who is able to respect or revere others or another person must quickly be revered himself. If you can show respect for somebody else, then you're going to be respected as well. Elige eum cuius tibi placuit, et vita, et oratio, et ipse animum ante se ferens vultus. So he says, choose someone whose life and speech and countenance bearing his soul before it has pleased you. So if you're going to pick somebody to model your life on, he says, choose somebody whose life has pleased you, somebody who's got a good life. Choose someone whose oratio, someone whose speech and manner of speaking has pleased you. And choose someone whose countenance, whose vultus, just carries that person's soul in front of it. You know people like that. You know people that you just can almost see their soul by looking at their face. He says, choose somebody like that to model your life on. Illum tibi semper ostende vel custodem vel exemplum. He says, always show that person to yourself as your protector and as your example or your model. And then he says, opus est, and that's an interesting little phrase. Opus est is an impersonal construction. It just means there is need of. We usually put it into a person and say something like we need, and it's always followed by the ablative. So opus est aliquo, we need someone, in quam, he says, I say. We need someone, I say, ad quem mores nostri se ipsi exigant, to whom our customs and habits may regulate themselves. And here's the key line. Nisi ad regulam prava non corriges. He says, you will not straighten that which is crooked except by a ruler. That's an interesting thing. Think about it. You can't straighten something unless you put a straight edge next to it and have a ruler for it. And so same thing with your life. If there's something that's kind of off track in your life, you need a good example of a person to model after and so straighten out those things in your life. Waleta.